Hello, everyone. This is Bruce Villarreal with Bruce Talks Podcast and Bruce Talks Podcast en Español. I'm so excited to be with you in this new episode that we have specially created for you, which is the title, which is Momentum. Momentum. I think we all need momentum in our life, and we're usually thinking, how do we get it going? Well, it is always going to start with the first step, and this could be that one first step for you. I think we all have applied momentum either consciously or unconsciously, but today we want to make a conscious decision of taking momentum or building momentum in your personal life and in your business life. So we're going to talk about the power of momentum in both areas, your personal and your business life. And again, this is Bruce Villarreal, speaker, businessman, and transformer of lives. If you haven't done it yet, I want to invite you to please subscribe to our channel, press the like button, comment, and tell us what you've liked about this. Remember to share and with your friends, business partners, and all those who are important to you in your life. Well, let's get started with this awesome topic, which we have prepared again with a lot of love and respect for all of you. And if you look, on my left side, you can tell that you're going to be taking steps, and it's not always going to be easy at the beginning. Once you start building momentum, or you gain velocity, then that's where things start to happen. But if you guys take a look right there, it says at the top, it says now, today, in other words, at the top. And then it's in a week from now, and then in a month, and then in a year or a couple of years, you start to get the ball rolling in your personal life and your business. And, I've made the mistake in the past in several areas of my life where you get started, you stop, or you get comfortable and you have to start again. And I don't know if you've done that, or if you've gone through that pain of starting again. Well, believe me, you want to make sure you build that momentum and use this concept, so that you keep moving forward in your personal life and in your business life. But, on the topic of momentum, again, if you create the discipline for 2 to 3 years in any area of your life, you can master it. And, and if you keep practicing it for the next 5 to 10 years, it becomes, you become a master, and that becomes part of your life. It becomes part of your core, and it also becomes part of your business and, philosophy and success. And I think usually what happens sometimes, you can get some quick results either on the weight loss, going to the gym, in your business, in your personal life, and then you get comfortable, and then you start practicing the steps that takes you to that success. So let's look over the topic of momentum. Number one, let's start with the momentum in our personal life. What is the definition of momentum? And I'm going to read it to you. It says, in a personal context, momentum represents the forward progress and energy that an individual maintains in their life. It's the drive, motivation, and consistency with which you pursue your goals and make progress. So how many of us want to make progress? Well, again, take a look at this definition again. And if you need to replay it to make sure that it's part of your ingrained inside of you, I'm going to repeat it one more time. Definition of personal momentum. In a personal context, momentum represents the forward progress and energy that an individual maintains in their life. It's the drive, motivation, and consistency with which you pursue your goals and make progress. In other words, at the end of the day, it's all about making progress, daily actions and that discipline. So let's take a look at, step number one for momentum. I think the most important thing in building personal and business momentum is number one is, and I think it's in both, but let's talk about personal momentum. It's making a decision. I think that everything changes once you make a mental decision to turn things around, to make things happen. That you set a goal and you say, you know what, this is a must. It's not a need, it's a must. It has to be a must in your life. So I say step number one is making that decision. That's the most powerful thing. If you look back in all the different decisions that you've made in your life, and remember, if you don't make a decision, you're making a decision not to do it as well. So that is a decision. So you're going to have that result. But if you're having a positive decision moving forward to create, build something in your life, change something in you, transform, evolve, the weight, the gym, the eating, all those different disciplines that we have to make. So it starts with the decision. So that's, I would say, step number one, or point number one in building that personal life momentum is making a decision. Number two, take note of this. This is awesome. It's number two, it's consistency in habits. And I can tell you in many parts of my life, and I would say in the younger years of my life, I was very consistent of being inconsistent. And I remember our teacher, Jim Rohn, would say, hey, it's about a few daily habits. And sometimes we think we have to make some drastic changes in our life. I've said it in the past. He said, if you're improving your life by 1% per day, by the end of the year, you have improved by 365%. Guess what? We improve something positive in a week, in a month, and then you just get comfortable and then you stop practicing it. And then you add a second thing and then you're missing. So we have to make, to be consistent, we also have practice good habits. So it says building personal momentum often starts with establishing positive habits. So I want to ask you, what negative habits do you have to change from negative to positive? Or what habits, what positive and productive habits are you not implementing in your life to reach your next goal? It could be the discipline of getting up on time, or setting a set schedule for yourself, making that commitment with yourself in any area of your life. And then when you consistently work toward your objectives, you gather momentum. For example, regular exercise, daily learning, or maintaining a routine can build personal momentum. So we hear a lot about routines, and life is a routine. Sometimes it can be simplistic, sometimes it can be boring, but guess what? That's what produces results. At the end of the day, it's all a mathematical equation. Either you add or you subtract. You subtract all the negative habits that you have to eliminate, and you start adding the positive, and that's going to equal a result. Either it's going to equal the result you don't want, or it's going to equal the result that you want. So I would say point number 2 is your consistency in habits, and go over this material again until it becomes part of your life and daily habits. Number 3, overcoming inertia. I was having the conversation with my son the other day that, again, a lot of things, we discuss is that, or some people say, hey, it should be common sense. And I do repeat this time and time again. Common sense, if it's common sense for you, doesn't mean that it's common sense for me. So do not assume that common sense is common sense for your husband, for your wife, for your coworker, for your business partner, for your children, and even for yourself. So we have to have the right information. But I remember also hearing from Napoleon Hill, the book Outwitting the Devil, and it says that one of the problems with humanity is that we start to drift. Like that boat, if you don't have a direction, you're going to drift, and eventually that current is going to take you in a direction you don't want to go, and eventually you can stray and or hit the rocks, and that's it, game over. So at the end of the day, we want to overcome inertia. So let's read on this subject. It says, similar to objects in motion, staying in motion, individuals who are actively pursuing their goals find it easier to keep going. So guess what? If you have started and stopped, what we mentioned earlier, we have to overcome this inertia effect, because if you're not moving forward, you're being taken back or you're being sidetracked. So you have to be always moving forward and have a conscious decision to fight against inertia. It says overcoming the initial inertia or resistance is often the most challenging part, because inertia will take you without you being conscious. So like everything in our life, I had this conversation with a friend yesterday. Hey, I just turned 50 years young, but guess what? How many things in our life, the younger you are and the younger you capture or pay attention to these points, the more time you're going to save, and also you're going to have an advantage. But it doesn't matter what age you are. Again, what matters is that you make a change today if that's what you really want. So becoming aware of the power of inertia or overcoming inertia will set you on a new course and path towards creating that personal momentum. Step number 4, or point number 4, is setting and achieving goals. We all want the big prize. We all want the big goal. And I guess sometimes if those goals are too big, and again, I remember Jim Rohn would say, if our teacher, he would say, hey, if your goals don't scare you and excite you, or give you a feeling of happiness, joy, and disgust, then your goals aren't big enough. But again, at the end of the day, they're your goals. Okay, but we want you to win. So one of my philosophies, many times I was discouraged, and I remember some of the older, wiser people when I was younger would say, "Hey, kind of, adapt your goals." And it doesn't mean that you have to pay attention, but you also have to pay attention to yourself, what you're achieving, if you're monitoring, and also setting yourself up to win. Sometimes we want to go on the elevator. Sometimes we want to take multiple steps, and when you can do that, do it. But of course, the program is step by step, or as many steps as you can take. And so you want to make sure that you're setting and achieving goals. Let's talk about that. It says goal setting is a critical aspect of personal momentum. Again, goal setting is a critical aspect of personal momentum. Having a clear, achievable goals gives you a direction and purpose, helping you stay focused and driven. So guess what? We do have to have, again, a sense of direction and purpose, and this will keep us focused and driven. How many of us, since we don't have goals that we have to achieve, and again, it starts with the first step, saving your first few dollars, making your first few sales, achieving your first rank, your next promotion, your first 10 pounds, your first 5 pounds, your first pound, whatever it is, cutting back, on, those sugary drinks, and, adding one extra glass of water, taking one more supplement. So what can you do in setting and achieving goals, and also put achievable goals as well? So point number 5 on building your personal momentum is a positive feedback loop. Okay, let's take a look at this point right here and listen to this. It says achieving smaller goals along the way can provide a sense of accomplishment and feed into your personal momentum. So again, kind of reinforcing point number 4 on setting and achieving goals. The positive feedback loop basically it says achieving smaller goals along the way can provide a sense of accomplishment and feed into your personal momentum. Success breeds more success. Again, you want to win. So set yourself up to win, not to lose. It's discouraging, number 1, if you don't have any goals, like step number 4. But number 5, if your goals are too big and you haven't achieved that kind of success, then you're gonna set yourself up to fail. So remember, it says success breeds success. All great success becomes with small successes. All great achievements become or start with small achievements. So those are the 5 points on building your personal life momentum. Let me repeat them for you really quickly. Number 1, I said decision. Number 2, consistency and habits. Number 3, overcoming the power of inertia, or overcoming inertia. Number 4, setting and achieving goals. And number 5, the positive feedback loop. And if, again, you haven't memorized that, take notes on it, go back and repeat this video and share it with your people, because this is the way to start and build your personal life momentum. But let's talk about the business momentum, because a lot of you are in, the workforce, or an entrepreneur, a business owner. So again, we have to have, also, how do we build momentum in our business? And again, today could be the opening of your new business, okay? Or you're building your new personal momentum at your new job or company. So let's take a look at the definition of business momentum. It says, in the business world, momentum refers to the company's ability to grow, expand, and generate positive results. It involves increasing revenue, market share, and profitability. Wow. Some of these words might not be familiar to you if you're not an entrepreneur, or you're starting as an entrepreneur, or a businessman, or a business owner, or a businesswoman. Again, or a young man, young woman who is starting into entrepreneurship. But again, let me repeat that definition on business momentum. The definition is, in the business world, momentum refers to the company's ability to grow, expand, and generate positive results. It involves increasing revenue, market share, and profitability. Again, you want to create results. You want to have profits. Again, like in our life momentum, you want to have results that, again, that you're seeing a return for your daily life. At the end of the day, in the business world, you want to have a result, a return, and create revenue, and eventually expand and grow from there. So let's talk about point number one in building business momentum now. So we had talked, part A was life momentum, part B is our business momentum. So point number one in business, building your business momentum, is number one, customer growth. Again, customer growth. Without customers, you have no revenue. Without customers, you can't grow. Without customers, you cannot get referrals. Without customers, you're out of business. So you're going to need customers, and it all begins with the power of one, your first customer. That first customer you can multiply by two. And again, you start step by step, customer by customer, till you build a large network of customer, or a large customer base. But let's read about the customer growth. Number one, let's read on it. It says business momentum often involves acquiring and retaining customers. So again, you have to acquire them, but then also we have to maintain them. You know, how many times have we done a one shot deal, and yeah, you did get the customer, you did get the sale, but you don't have repeat business and you don't have referrals, because you're just focused on making that one sale. So I think in customer growth, you also want to be thinking in multiplying that customer base. If you're already out there, let's nurture that customer, let's make it grow. But also it says, as a business gains more customers or clients, it gathers momentum, which can lead to word of mouth referrals and further growth. So again, as your business, gains momentum, or it gains momentum because you're adding clients and more customers, and that becomes, gives you that credibility in the marketplace, and you start getting those referrals, that word of mouth. Hey, you know what? I want to do business. You want to do business with this young lady, or this young man, or this businessman, this businesswoman. They treated me well. They didn't just see me as another customer. I think just a quick reminder: when you're selling your goods and services. I think the best salesman and best saleswoman is the person who's more interested in their customer and sharing the value of what you got and the benefits for them, and caring more for them, their family, and their needs than your own. And you'll always be taken care of. You'll always get the sell. And if you don't get the sell on the moment, you're going to get the sell in the future. And it's very upsetting sometimes to see and hear when people are trying to sell on the first shot. And we all want to make the sale. We all want to grow. We all want to go fast. But guess what? Pay attention to your customers' needs. Now, point number two, we're hitting an era now where things are changing drastically. I was having a conversation with my friend Javier, and we're discussing how things have changed, from our younger days to this present day, and how it is that the new millennials and all this new information. It's amazing. So point number two, to build your business momentum, you have to be innovation and adaptation. In other words, we have to be innovative and adaptive to today's marketplace. So let's read on that. It says, keeping up with market trends and adapting to changing conditions is essential for maintaining business momentum. Companies that innovate and evolve tend to have sustained growth. In other words, there's many companies that are still alive that we call the dinosaur method, and they haven't, migrated to some of the new technology. And in time, they're going to be obsolete, or if they're still in business, they just maintain or are constantly just replacing their sales team or customers because they haven't adapted and they haven't become innovative. So the question to you as well as step number two is, what can you do to be innovative and adapt to today's marketplace? Things have changed drastically with technology after COVID. You have to be very creative, and adaptive. So what can you do to be more adaptive and innovative in your field? And, again, it's just paying attention and see what you can improve on in being innovative and adaptive in your marketplace. That will build your business momentum, which is step number two, or point number two. Number three is effective marketing and sales. Again, if you don't have effective marketing and if you're not selling, again, you're out of business as well. Again, we have to be attracting new customers, and we have to be constantly selling or adding sales force to your team, so that your company is constantly selling, or your team or your organization. So let's read on this on point number three, effective marketing and sales. A well-executed marketing and sales strategy can drive business momentum by increasing demand for products or services and expanding the customer base. Again, it says a well-executed marketing and sales strategy can drive business momentum by increasing demand for products or services, expanding the customer base. So we want to create a well-executed marketing plan. And again, sometimes we can start with something basic, but again, I was reading that I think Warren Buffett was saying that a person who doesn't have much knowledge but executes a plan or has a goal has a much higher success rate than the person who's smart, educated, and doesn't execute nothing. So at the end of the day, start with what you can while you also get expert advice, or you start to refine your marketing plan, your sales strategy, and your sales team. So point number 4 is financial performance. Yeah, you have to be succeeding on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You're going to notice what is going to be your market trend with your business, because all businesses are different. Some businesses boom towards the holidays. Some businesses start to lose a little bit of momentum. So you have to kind of gauge your business where you're at, so that you capitalize on the months, the weeks, or the certain months of the year that is the time for you to build the momentum to sustain you on those months that aren't that productive or that powerful. But if you have that momentum, you're going to always have consistent business, or the changes are not going to affect you. But let's read on financial performance, which is point number 4. Consistently positive financial performance, such as increasing profits and reducing expenses, is a key indicator of business momentum. So again, yeah, you have to make sure that you want to increase profits, which is always number 1 rule in business, building a business, but also decreasing the expenses where maybe the money is leaking and is not building the profits or your market share in the marketplace. So you want to make sure that point number 4, you monitor that financial performance. Point number 5 in the business momentum is scaling. Okay, scaling. This has been a new word for me in the last couple of years, and maybe it's new for you. Maybe you've heard it. Maybe you already understand it. But for those who don't understand it, point number 5 is scaling. And let's read on this. It says, as a business grows, it may explore opportunities for scaling, such as expanding to new markets. In other words, hey, if you're in your local area, but if you want to expand to other cities, your next door city, or a couple of cities away, it says, such as expanding markets, introducing new product lines. In other words, something to give you, new repeat customers with some, the customers you've sold, or acquiring other businesses. And then also these actions can accelerate business momentum. And I like something that Alex Hormozy was saying is that, we hear so much about multiple streams of income today. And for many of us, that was a confusion. Remember, sometimes excess information can get you off track. So, again, this is part of your refinement. Again, until it becomes part of your life, your understanding, where you really understand. Because sometimes we can act like we understand, and we don't understand. So, pay attention to the words. Pay attention to the ones who are really succeeding. And I like Alex Hormozy when he was talking about scaling. But he says, focus on one thing till you master it. Because if you're trying to master, 3, 5, 7 things, and then you don't focus on anything. And yes, we are living in, changes. So it's good to have your backup plan. We're living in a, financial climate that can change. Some industries are dying out. So you have to be paying attention, but where you can scale and add to your business, you can always scale and add. But again, this is awareness. Point number 6 is leadership and teamwork. Again, in building business momentum, we do have to refine and build our leadership skills and also work as a team. Teamwork, they say, many companies, I've heard it growing up in business, is teamwork makes the dream work, and it is about teamwork, because if you want to, go solo, you're not going to scale, you're not going to grow, you're not going to build the momentum, or you're going to tire out, because, it takes a team to make things happen. You can't do this all alone. But let's read on this. Effective leadership, a motivated team, and a positive work culture are essential for business momentum. They contribute to employee morale, productivity, and overall success. How many of us have been to businesses where we're the ones paying, or you are the one paying, and they give you terrible service? And then sometimes these are even the business owners. And why? Because they're trying to do everything themselves, and they're tired out. Or sometimes if there's no teamwork, no motivation for your team members, your sales team, or your employees, guess what? They lose morale. And again, it's about creating a culture where they belong to something, to a movement, not just have a job. So create something where people have, they belong, like they have ownership with your company, your team, your organization, where they feel important. Because people, they say, Jim Rohn would say, people will do more for recognition than for pay. People will do more for saying, hey, job well done, or to hear that from you, than to have a pay raise. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't all want a pay raise, we don't all want to increase, but again, it starts with giving that kind of value to our team, our employees, and I think it changes people's morale. And I think today there's a trend, a tendency where people are being paid minimum wages. There's no morale. They don't belong to anything. They just have a job. And if you have a job, then you're going to have a customer who goes and buys, maybe because they need it, maybe because they don't want to go somewhere else, but they leave with a really bad, taste in their mouth. And I've experimented this, and I'm sure you have as well. And again, sooner or later, that company is going to die out. It's just a matter of time. So let's go over the 6 points on building the business momentum. Point number 1 is customer growth. Point number 2 is innovation and adaptation. Point number 3 is effective marketing and sales. Point number 4 is financial performance. Point number 5 is scaling. And point number 6 is leadership and teamwork. And in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, in both personal and business contexts, maintaining momentum requires, listen to this, effort, consistency, adaptability, and a clear sense of direction. Momentum can propel you toward your goals and objectives, making it a valuable concept for self-improvement and business success. So here you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have the 2 parts to building momentum in your personal life, number 1, and number 2, in your business life. If you have a business, if the business doesn't apply to you and you have a job, see how those business points can make you. I remember hearing on the Hot Cheetos story, where the president and CEO told the whole company, he goes, take it upon yourself to have ownership in the company. What can you provide? So even if you're an employee, and if you act like a business owner, you're going to succeed. Apply whatever you can apply. Number 1, in your personal momentum, but also on the business side, what can you apply in leadership? Even if you have a job, hey, there's a lot of things you can do. What can you do to increase the company's profits? Or if you want a promotion, or if you want to have a new rank in the company, you can. But what are you doing as well? Because sometimes we also leave it up to the owner or business owner. Hey, you have some initiative yourself as well. And this will build your personal life momentum and your business momentum, or both, if that's what you want. So, ladies and gentlemen, with a lot of love and respect, this is your friend Bruce Villarreal, and coach, speaker, businessman, and transformer of life. Again, I encourage you to press the subscribe button, the like, comment, share with your friends and family. And again, like I always say, together, if we practice this information, and we will get to the next level, and we'll achieve together our dreams and ambitions. It's a matter of connecting. So remember, thanks for connecting to Bruce Talks Podcast and the Bruce Talks Podcast in Espanol, which you're going to be seeing this episode also spoken in Spanish. So please suggest that to your Spanish-speaking friends. And again, I want to say thank you to all our friends globally for connecting to Bruce Talks Podcast. And God bless you. We'll see you in our following episode.